So how do we see that? It's hard. It's hard to
Yeah.
do that, you know?
Well,
So
Eastern
that
philosophy has a lot of to add to that. That's why if you listen to any wise person from, like, let's just say a Buddhist teacher, they will tell you that
right,
you cannot control the environment. You can only control your thoughts.
right. Middle
Stuff that's been
nine?
practiced for millennia,
Okay.
like meditation. That's it's a tool that will equip you in a way to be able to control your thoughts and
Mhm.
engage with your thoughts and choose when to engage with your thoughts when it's done right and through a long period of time.
Mhm.
It's an attention development technique at its core, and then you learn how to
Did you say attention?
attention,
Okay.
because
Like focus?
meditation is just the training of attention. It's focusing on your breathing, and you become so
Well, there are many different techniques
but
or
the
types
fundamental
of meditation, right?
yes, but the fundamental
As far as I'm concerned, I'm no Buddhist or yogi.
practitioner.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm aware, and the fundamental practice of meditation is the practice of focus and attention, and a lot, and the I guess the most dominant forms of meditation is really focusing on your breathing,
Right.
and being able to hold that focus. And first you start with 5 seconds, 2-second holds, and then a thought invades your space. And then you little by little every day you practice, and little by little you're gonna get this attention to be able to last just a little bit longer.
Mhm.
And we're talking about increments of seconds. We're not talking about straight up staying for an hour, solely focus and not let anything else bother. Because every time you're quiet and your mind is racing, right?
Yeah.
And so
Tell me about it.
what you get is your attention focus on this racing mind, and
The monkey mind, to say?
this racing mind. So your mind is
But what-
racing.
Isn't that like the
Maybe, I don't know.
the monkey mind that the
with the,
it's always
sure.
like
Yeah, with the yeah,
the plates.
exactly. So by not engaging, learning how not to engage with your thoughts, it's one of the ways that Eastern philosophy kind of suggests that you should address the problem, and not let these you observe these thoughts as they are, just thoughts, and as easy as they come, they go away, and you didn't really hold on to them, because neurosis and thinking about these things and getting into these cycles of you can't stop thinking about something and it's worrying you, it's bringing you anxiety, you're thinking about the future, or you're thinking about the past. These really are the consequence of you not being able to let go of these thoughts, right? So in a way, it's a great solution. And I only know the theory of this because I don't really practice, but I've been exposed to all these.
I had
all
a
these,
crazy thought right now.
Did you hold on to it,
I
or
wo-
did you let it go?
No, it's right here.
Mhm.
I wonder if everything in life is based in faith and belief. Like you're saying, like I wonder if certain techniques really work, or if it's just us through an action convincing ourselves that works.
Mhm.
And for some people that placebo effect will
Yeah.
work, some people will not, because I always see like people, let's say like you see like these gurus or people that practice whatever, like let's say these business gurus nowadays, they'll give you the steps, the 5 steps to success.
Mhm.
They will tell you, oh, if you apply this recipe to your life, this is going to lead you to a more successful place in life. And on the other hand, I see a lot of people like taking those steps and saying, okay, that doesn't work for me. I had to find my own adjustments, or I had to find my own way to do things, you know? So I wonder if that nuance, like, oh, it worked for certain people, it doesn't work for, because if you think of a recipe for a cake,
Mhm.
you know, if it's done properly, it should work 100% of the time,
Right.
right? If it's done properly. So I wonder if it's more a matter of application, if it's being applied correctly, or if it's a matter of, you know, maybe this works for me. It's like a different area of life that you can just apply this step by step that will generate and if you do apply that step by step, will generate certain results independently of the way you're applying it. It's more complex than that, and you do have to adjust and find your own tune and find your own ways to do things. So I wonder if it's more sometimes like a mentality shift. Like for some people will serve as that step by step will serve as a tool to make that mentality shift. And when that mentality shift happens, then they'll become successful, or engage on the way to success. Or if it's really like something that works empirically, like if it's something that really should work 100% of the time for if people actually apply that step by step. Like I use that example as a business, the business area, because it's like a common one, but you could use many examples, like step by step to meditation, let's say.
Right.
A lot of people say, oh, that doesn't work for me. Oh, like focus in one word, or focus on your breathing, or put some music, put some solfeggio frequencies, or listen to classical music, because it's all about vibration. I feel like there's so many different methods, and people differ a lot. Like, oh, this method works for me, this method doesn't work for me. I feel like it's just so random, like. So my question is, does that method really works, or is it just people convincing themselves that method actually works? And is each method is gonna have a higher
chance of success.
A higher convincing power over people. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I understand exactly what you're trying to say. Here's my 2 cents on all that you said, which is a lot to unpack, and I have thought about this profusely. I want to premise this, I guess.
Call the experts.
That I am a cynic by nature, so I'm a little bit of a cynic.
Are you, or you made yourself a cynic?
I made myself a cynic by coming from a very credulous point. I used to be a person of faith. I used to believe, when you're looking at the world for the first time, there's a lot of new information, and a lot of the times you hear things and you grab onto them because they make sense. Whatever. I used to believe in paranormal activity, for example. I used to watch a bunch of shows, but then once you have a more complete picture...
Did you believe in it, or...
No. I was afraid of it.
Afraid of it.
I was afraid because if you fear something that you think might be there, I don't know. I remember hearing ghost stories by my cousins, and I wholeheartedly believe that those perspired, and then some things stop making sense in your global understanding of the world, or how the universe works. And so that
how your
made
physics
me...
work.
How my physics work. Always go back to the physics of things. So that turned me into a person that will kind of be more less awed easily. Awed in the sense awe. Like you won't tell me something that will totally shake my foundations. And I'm kind of very open to it because I would love to have my world flipped upside down. But that's just like a side note. What happens is I became very wary of new information and how to see how that relates to the information that I kind of hold on to, that I've proven that it's valid and has a lot of strong foundations. Doesn't mean it cannot be upfounded and replaced, but that's where I come from. My starting place from coming from that other extreme and sort of like finding a balance. And it served me well thus far. So, that being said, I know this is scientific fact that...
Is scientific or
it's scientific fact.
Scientificism.
No, pseudoscientific. No, this is scientific fact that our thoughts and our mindset affects our brain chemistry. Okay? So this is a very solid premise that's been shown to be true. And links to research down below, I guess. Take my word on it right now. And correct me if this is an absolute falsehood that I'm basing my premise off of. So, the placebo effect is real, is documentably real. But the belief of something can actually influence a bunch of our chemistry that's internal. That is an incredible idea. It means like there are some things that just because it can create a chain of reaction in our minds, in our brains, that can actually affect the physical chemistry in our brains. There are studies about performance that people practicing a certain movement versus imagining to practice a certain movement, there's progress that you can physically measure that is not too far behind the progress that the person who actually physically did a task. Let's say shooting hoops. They put two people to practice hoops. They measured like more or less their average. They put people practicing for a period of time, which I don't know right now, and they had the other people sit down, close their eyes, and imagining doing the same movement, same pattern. Just thinking and thinking, and both groups showed improvement. And the person who did not actually physically throw the ball, or the group of people who did not physically throw the ball, got measurable performance improvement, which is crazy if you think about it. The power of the mind. You actually created new neuron connections by imagining that you were physically doing a movement, even though you never did it, which goes to, to support this idea of your thoughts and your brain chemistry. Fascinating. So, going to these methods that people sell for success, for peace of mind, whatever the goal is, I think that you have all these methods. They're kind of trying to talk to the same thing, right? So you might have different ways of meditating, you might have different ways to make a business, you might have different ways to reach, but there's an underlying commonality. Now, a lot of these things, when we're talking about mindset, positive mindset, it touches back to this idea that the mindset influences the
chemicals in your brain.
The chemicals in your brain, how you perceive the world, how you're going to engage with the world. And the more positive attitude, negative, it goes back to what we're talking about, the mistakes that we're making in the beginning that can hold us back, or we can use them to learn and try again, fail again, fail better. That kind of mentality. What I wanted to mention was, in the case of this spirituality and trying to find these tools, I don't think every formula will apply to everybody, because in your cake analogy, it's different. It doesn't work. It's an apples to oranges comparison. If you have a cake, you need flour, eggs, butter, right? In the case of people, everybody brings their own version of those ingredients.
Okay.
Right, so my flour is different than your flour, my butter is different than your butter, because of my past, of my experience, of how my mentality, my psyche works. Is going to be we're all humans, so we're all going to have like some commonality, but the specifics of your experience, of your trauma, of your way that your past, your history, will shape how you're going to approach these things. On paper, if you do the things with the exact mindset that they require you to do, and if you do the steps, I kind of believe that you'll probably get to the same results. But the problem is the starting point is going to be different for everybody, and that's why some methods will work for some people and others will work for others, because that initial mindset or those conclusions that the teacher said, okay, this is how I figured this path, this is how I got to here, now I'm going to try to communicate this. It's not going to work for everybody. The person who figured this out for the first time, the teacher who's selling this method, figured it out for themselves. But because by definition, everybody's going to have a slightly different background, it won't be able to fit all. And the only way that you can effectively teach something that's more universal is to add less detail. Hello everybody, and thank you for watching until the end. This has been Woke Wars, and I hope you liked our conversation. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Tell us what you'd like to hear us talk about next. Also, check out some of our other episodes. We post every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We will see you on the next one.